Well, we're starting this Friday by taking a look at today's top headlines with Giles Brandreth and Rachel Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning. We are in a happy mood because we've been celebrating the birthday of Princess Anne.
Oh!
The Princess Royal is 75 today.
Is she?
I always think of the 15th of August as the birthday of Jim Dale. Do you remember Jim Dale?
No.
Still with us, 90 years of age now, in the Carry On films. Great star. Anyway, he was wonderful. Also Napoleon's birthday.
Oh.
I'm not sure about that, but anyway, there we go.
Apparently not as short as they said.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Full of facts today, aren't you?
No, yeah.
Full of facts.
I'm good on Napoleon stuff. And cake.
None of these are our first story.
No, we've got an important first story.
We do have an important first story. With today marking the 80th anniversary of VJ Day, King Charles has paid tribute to those who fought and died in the Pacific and Far East during the Second World War. So
He has read the room absolutely brilliantly with that speech, hasn't he? Because there are more conflicts going on in the world than there has been since the Second World War. Yeah, I know it's a time of celebration, Rachel, but also it's a time to remember those who died and to try and stop wars happening.
Exactly.
You know, so he's been very, very smart with that speech.
And of course, the King must have been aware. I mean, he would have written that speech before, but today is the day when you see two world leaders meeting in Alaska, in Anchorage, to try and determine whether there can be a path for peace for Ukraine and Russia. So it adds extra import to his words, extra meaning, even though, of course, he doesn't reference that war. He does actually, for the first time, I think, reigning monarch recognise the suffering of the people of Japan following the dropping of those two bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which we've just actually commemorated, if that's the right word, in the last few weeks.
It is the right word. I mean, I think today, VJ Day, is a day of commemoration rather than celebration. It was the end of the Second World War, formally. Japan surrendered because of the horror of the atom bomb that was dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So many people killed. That's what he marked. What was, I think, fascinating about his speech is the way it did resonate for today, but had so many references to history and to his own family. And the reason he used the word wireless is, of course, because that's what people called the radio back in the 1940s when his grandfather was king and made a speech. He also referred to Lord Mountbatten of Burma, who was his great-uncle, who you may remember was assassinated later.
By the IRA.
Indeed. But during the Second World War was leading in the Pacific. And he said how he had been taken by his great-uncle to meet people who were members of the Burma Star Association, the veterans. So you really felt it was personal, didn't you? And the other person he referred to was
William Slim, who ran the campaign for the Allies in the Far East. Just to say one thing, I know it's on a separate channel, but if you do want to know much more about this war, there is a series called Narrow Road to the Deep North, which is written by a Booker Prize winner, and I'm sure everyone, a lot of people listening to this will have seen it, and it shows the utter brutality and horror of the war and why it is called the Forgotten War, because those soldiers, especially those in prisoners of war camps where the Japanese were uniquely brutal, did feel forgotten. They just felt that the world had forgotten them, and the West, the war in Europe had ended. The war that we had VE Day, but the war in Japan continued. And
they
of course,
called themselves the Forgotten Army, didn't they? Yeah.
Do you think VE Day can sometimes overshadow, actually, VJ Day?
It's more immediate. Because, you know, if you were in England, Wales, Scotland, and during the Second World War, it was happening to you. The bombs were falling here. So the end of the war in Europe was everything. And Hitler was the enemy. That's how you perceived it. But the war went on. It was a world war. It went on in the Far East. So it wasn't until the fall of Japan, Imperial Japan, that actually the war came to an end. So it is understandable. What I think was so interesting about the King's speech is that he talked about horror and heroism in a way that at VE Day, the mood was slightly different. Here, actually, he was being very thoughtful about it. And the whole idea of linking arms in the right sense rather than holding arms was very moving, I thought.
What should we expect from today, Rachel?
Well, there's an event in the Arboretum. There's a 2-minute silence, isn't there, at noon? I wonder how many people are even aware of it. And the Defence Secretary, I think Lisa Nandy, is going to be there representing the fallen and the surviving veterans of that war. I wonder what a lasting legacy this speech will have. Can I just say that, do you remember that film called The King's Speech?
Yeah.
And I really wanted my son, who was about 10, to learn more about sort of the history of the monarchy. And I said, look, Oliver, do you want to know what the King's Speech is about? And he said, the King's Peach? Yes, Mum, I know all about it.
No.
It's about Colin Firth becoming king. And he thought it was called the King's apostrophe Peach.
It's a little alarming, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what my point is that we say it's a forgotten war, but there's almost total ignorance of this war, let's face it, which is why I suggested people should watch that TV series.
Yeah, well, people probably don't realise that. I mean, the atomic bombs were horrific. Over 200,000 people died instantaneously, radiation deaths coming after that. But the other option was boots on the ground through Japan, and they reckoned over 1 million soldiers would have died in that conflict. But also, the conflict was spreading across Asia. They're heading towards India. Things were looking very different if it hadn't been successful from the Allied forces. And it was such a great combination of Allied forces from all around the world. It was a real show of world strength, wasn't it? And people don't know this at all.
At the end of 6 years, can you imagine, 6 years, my parents, your grandparents and great-grandparents involved in this for 6 years, living this horror. So for them, this was such a significant day. And there are now only a handful of people who are veterans, I think about 20 of whom will be at the commemoration today at the National Arboretum. But the hope is, and the King's Speech made this clear, is that we do learn the lessons of history, the horror of what the atomic bomb can do, but also the horror of war.
Yeah, let's avoid war at all
You'll be
costs.
teaching us a bit more later on as well, won't you? With your own stories from your own families, which is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to actually have the 2-minute silence here
Yes,
as
we
well.
are. Yeah.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
So the next talking point is a north-south divide in A-level results. So, as we all know, it was A-level results day yesterday, and the results have highlighted the widening gap between the north and the south. Giles?
Well, first thing to say is, if you did well, well done.
Yeah.
If you did even reasonably well, well done.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, A-levels were a nightmare, and I only did 2. And I know people who are doing 4 or 5. Amazing. I had a granddaughter who did very well. So well done to her.
And also, if you didn't get what you expected, well done.
But
because you've put the work in and you've really
put the work
tried.
in, and there are lots. I'm the Chancellor Emeritus of the University of Chester. There are lots of universities in this country, and people focus on the one they really want. But actually, there's a clearing system. If you didn't get the first choice and you didn't get your second choice, you can go back into the pool and look around everywhere. So there are lots of possibilities. This story, though, they reveal what happens around the country. And it seems that people in the south are still, broadly speaking, in exams, doing better than people in the north. Now, what is the cause of this? I don't actually know, but it's the reason why people used to talk about levelling up. How actually can we bring more equality to the country so that it's actually equal opportunities for all around the nation?
Is it more investment in the north is needed? Rachel?
I feel we just go round and round in this circle about levelling up and attainment. And, of course, I do think educational attainment tracks with poverty and the most deprived areas in the country. I mean, you can see that in the graph. It's a bar chart. And the place with the best results is London and the South East. The place with the worst is the North East, which has historically been a place of grinding poverty. Well, no, not, but just in terms of whether your results track with your success. I mean, have we talked about the annual Jeremy Clarkson tweet yet? Where he...
Yes,
yesterday,
OK.
Yeah.
Well, it's all right. We don't need to go back into it. But
For those who don't know about it, he boasts that he got no qualifications.
he got 2
and look at
U's,
him.
and he's now. I think he's refined his tweet this year. He's saying, "And look at me, I'm now installing lights into my helicopter pad or something."
And
like
look
that.
at Sir Richard Branson, also left school.
And look at Alan Sugar. It
And look
doesn't-
at Winston Churchill talking about the Second World War.
Your
Lots of people.
granddaughter did incredibly well. And
Yeah, well done her.
Good for her, and that is success and effort rewarded. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee that she will win the glittering prizes of life. And that, I think, whether you come from a poor background or a wealthy background, depends on your own drive, as well as all the opportunities that are available to you. And I think we don't recognise that enough.
We still haven't had the answer, though.
No.
Yeah.
Is it school? Is it quality of schools?
I don't know. It may be to do with aspiration and the
That's what
attitude
I
of
said.
families and parents. I don't know. But it's interesting. There was also stuff this week about boys, young white male boys, not achieving. By contrast with young Asian boys achieving more and better. Is that because the families of the young Asian boys are more ambitious for them? Say, you know, it's important to get your qualifications so you can become X, Y, and Z, and the parents of the others aren't. I don't have the answer.
The other thing we should say is, are we still seeing a kind of PTSD of COVID, the time when children didn't even go to school? You had assumed grades. There was huge grade inflation then. There was a huge spike in A-level results inflation in around 2020 to 2022. And that's kind of unwinding. So I'm not quite sure what we're seeing. And there was that, you know, children were basically told you don't have to go to school. And now we're questioning why is it that children aren't achieving their full potential in different parts of the country. I think there's a bit of an answer from back then.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just Googled the headline.
Yeah.
And I was reading a story about it. And it was from 2018. OK, and the situation hasn't changed. And the graphs are the same.
Yeah, OK.
So this is going on a long, long time, this disparity between North and South.
Yeah.
And for much longer than that. Yeah.
And longer. And so both sides of Parliament have had a chance to do something about this, and no one's actually done anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just hard, I guess, if we don't know what the problem is. How do you fix it?
Well, we know what the problem
is the key fix?
But we don't know what the solution is. Okay. And actually, we haven't analysed the detail of what actually makes this happen. But obviously, it is of concern.
Yeah. OK. Well, I have a feeling we'll be doing this story next year.
Yeah.
So we can maybe have a solution then. A lighter tone, perhaps. Picky eaters. We are talking
It's
about...
not you, is it?
No.
No.
You eat any olio.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, so are we saying that finding a partner is a picky eater?
So we're saying, the question is, would you dump someone for being a picky eater?
What is a picky eater?
Well, a woman has revealed that she's dumping her boyfriend because he is a picky eater after sharing how he only eats chicken dippers and mac and cheese. So I think picky eating is in... limited,
That's
maybe.
all he eats. Can you imagine what he looks like, smells like, eats like? How right she is to have dropped him.
Surely you can't have chicken dippers and mac and cheese for breakfast.
Lunch and tea.
And dinner and pudding.
And he's dipping the nuggets into the macaroni
So
cheese.
I think the point is it's very limiting.
I've had mac and cheese for breakfast. Yeah.
This morning.
It's fantastic. Yeah, this morning.
This morning. So that is the question. I suppose, what are your boundaries?
Well, I mean, there are lots of reasons for dumping a boyfriend, and what they eat, I would imagine, comes fairly low on the list. Unless you're living in the same house with them and you're having to share meals with them, and he insists on having the mac and cheese and the fishies, you know, everything breaded and fried, which is quite not just disgusting, but it's extremely unhealthy. So maybe she was taking a precautionary line and thinking, this guy isn't long for this world, I better lose him quite fast.
If you want to share a bed, you should share a plate. My view is that you should eat similar things.
But Giles,
I know.
We're going to talk about the cheese.
We are going to talk about the cheese. Oh. I'm afraid we are going to talk about cheese.
Where are we going?
Because Giles keeps a piece of cheese in his pocket.
Yes, I do.
At all times.
And I couldn't live with Giles because he's got a piece of cheese.
Now.
Well, I've actually emptied it out of my pocket today because the other day I revealed it on the programme and there were complaints from viewers who didn't feel this was very comfortable or nice. But I do have cheese when I come in. This means that I reek of cheese. So I was saying to her earlier, as she was sort of picking at her, what did you have?
I had a bacon bap. It wasn't the most healthy breakfast.
As she was having her bacon bap, there was a bit of sort of smacking of the lips going on. It was all... And I looked over and I thought, this isn't very attractive. And then she took her revenge by saying, oh, cheesy, cheesy.
I got a gust of cheese when we sat down.
So, though we may have spent the night together, we're not spending tonight together. No. That's the long and the short of it. It was fun while it lasted, wasn't it?
I
can't even say that.
I
can't
thought
even admit it was fun while it lasted.
Picky noises, like that noise. When someone eats, which is not acceptable.
But that's just what Rachel said. The noises were.
But
no, it wasn't. It's the way he eats a piece like a rat gnawing at a hunk of cheddar. On pickiness, I think it's an affectation. Going back to business of being brought up properly and all the rest of it, you know, I don't think we should go back to the days where you said you have to sit in front of your plate and you can't get down until you're finished. But children these days, and my son was one of them, I'm not going to name him again, I used to have to make 3 meals every night, one for 2 children, one for the 3rd child, and one for the adults. Oh. And now I was made a rod for my own back, so I'm just giving the viewers a tip. make your children eat what you eat, and there are no exceptions.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Like a rat eating a piece of
Gnawing.
Yeah. We'll leave you thinking about that.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.